Good evening, my dear friends. Every Thursday evening, being the day dedicated to the infant Jesus, we have a special program starting at 7 p.m. here in this shrine called Food from the Heart and to the Heart. It consists of a short presentation on any topic that would be helpful for us, followed by the exposition of the Blessed Sacrament and time spent in silence before the Blessed Sacrament, followed by the novena to the infant Jesus, and finally the blessing before we retire for the night. We shall begin by singing the song of love, the invitation that Jesus has given to us. Love one another as I have loved you. Love, love it was that made us, and it was love that saved us. Love was God's plan when He made man. God's divine nature is love. Born of God's love, we must love Him. That's why He made us to love Him. But only when we love all men can we partake of God's love. But only when we love all men can we partake of God's love. The word love is repeated so often in this beautiful hymn. Love in our relationship with God, God who loves us, who has created us in love, and invites us to love one another. And that is the whole understanding of who God is and how He has created each one of us in love. People in Nashik and Mumbai and various other parts must have already heard about the two trains that move up and down from Mumbai CST to Manmad and vice versa. The Panchvati Express and the Topavan Express. Likewise, in London, there was the London Express, which used to commute from London to other places. And on the way, it would have to cross rivers and open land, just as we see these two express trains and many others that pass through Nashik. The London Express one night was speeding along the rails. And it so happened that night, it was night, the Queen was one of the passengers on that train. And as the train picked up speed, it was a cold night, there was fog, and then all of a sudden, the engine driver saw in the beam of the light of his engine a figure in a black cloak standing in front of on the tracks and waving out. He thought there was a person standing there and asking him to stop the train. Immediately his hand went to the brakes, and as soon as the brakes were applied, the train came to a stop. He and few of the other people came down to look at what this figure was. But when they walked down the tracks, they saw no figure. The engine driver, nevertheless, went walking with that same beam of light down the tracks. And as he was walking, he reached the beginning of a bridge over which the train would be passing. And he saw that the middle of that bridge had collapsed and had fallen into the swollen river. If he had not applied brakes, the whole train would have hurtled down into that gushing river, and all would have died, possibly. They tried to search for some time, but they could not find anyone in the vicinity of that train. They then decided that while the bridge, it would take some time to repair that bridge, an engine was attached to the rear of that train so that that train could be taken back to London. When it reached London, the driver went to see for himself what was it that caused him to see this figure waving, a black cloak waving, asking him to stop. And then he noticed at the base of that light there was a moth that had died and was there on the base of that light. So he took that moth, threw some water on it, and placed it in the center of that light. And he put on the light. And at once he saw that figure of someone in black waving. He went to the Queen and said, "Your Highness, this is what had taken place, and that is why we were all saved." And the Queen replied, "Young man," she said, "this was not an accident. This was God's hand that saved us from sure death." What a beautiful experience. The love of God is there 24/7. Whether we are asleep, whether we are awake, God is all the time looking after us, protecting us, keeping us safe, showering us with His love, because He has created each one of us, you and I, in His image and likeness, and He loves each one of us. And that is why we can thank God for His tremendous love that He has for each one of us, for our family members, for our relatives, friends, in fact, for every single human being He has created in His love and image and likeness. We come here to this shrine of the infant Jesus. And people, not only Christians, but people of other faith also come here with deep faith, believing that the infant Jesus will answer their prayers. We have young men and women who come asking for a partner in life, couples who come asking for a child, people who are unwell ask for healing. And just as in today's gospel, where we see the leper coming to Jesus, kneeling before him and saying, "If it is your will, you will make me clean." He leaves everything in the hands of Jesus. And the beautiful response of Jesus, "Of course, I can be clean. Of course, I will be clean." What a beautiful interaction between that leper and Jesus. So we see in this incident of the train where God's love, even before we ask, He already knows our needs, and He is there to help us in such moments. Some years ago, when I was going to my brother's home in Baikala, and I was carrying the picture of the infant Jesus, and I tried getting on to a train from Andheri to Mumbai Central, and I slipped, and I was holding the bar and running on the platform, and all of a sudden, with the picture clasped on my chest of the infant Jesus, I was, as it were, lifted and put on the footboard just as the train left the platform. This was my elder brother, whom I had gone to visit. Yesterday evening, my niece, that is his daughter, phoned me and said, they call me uncle. "Uncle, Daddy does not seem to respond. When talking to him on the phone, he finds it difficult to speak. I've heard that he has not got up from the bed for 2 days. Now my brother is that type who can never lie still. He has to be doing something or other all the time. And recently he celebrated his 91st birthday on the 27th of December. We went to the dining room, and while we were at prayer, and Father Errol was taking the prayer, asking the infant Jesus to guide us as we were planning and preparing for the feast next month. And that is when I asked my community to pray for my brother. After we had our meal and meeting, I went to my room, and my niece phoned again saying, "Daddy has been admitted to the ICU." This morning, first thing I got up and I prayed the rosary, and I offered this rosary for my brother and for my sister-in-law, who needs the strength, as well as for the 2 daughters who are anxious about their dad. Then at the 12 o'clock Mass, we took the same gospel about the leper. if you wish, you can make me clean. And during the novena, I said the same words. If you wish, you can heal my brother. After Mass, I first went to my room to check if there was any message. And my niece sent me a message, Daddy is stable. And during the day, we have been talking to one another and seeing how the rosary, our dedication to the infant Jesus, our faith in God, can do wonderful things even before we ask. God is love, and He knows all our needs even before we ask Him. All that we can ask is to strengthen our faith in God. Let us pause, my dear brothers and sisters, for a few moments. And if you have any prayers that you have brought besides your prayers of intercession, your thanksgiving, that during the novena which we have later, ask for this gift of faith, that whatever our prayers are, God knows even before we ask. If it is your will, let it be done unto me. Love it was that made us, and it was love that saved us. Love was God's plan when He made man. God's divine nature is love. Born of God's love, we must love Him. That's why He made us to love Him. But only when we love all men can we partake of God's love. But only when we love all men can we partake of God's love. We shall now have the exposition of the Blessed Sacrament, and we shall spend some time speaking to the Lord and listening to what He has to say to us. have two stories of lepers. One in today's gospel, where the leper came to Jesus and said, if you will, if you wish, you can make me clean. Like that leper, we often come to the shrine with our prayers of petition, intercession. The other story of the 10 lepers who were also healed by Jesus, but only one returned to give thanks. Perhaps we sometimes forget to come back and to thank the Lord for all that He does and will continue to do for us. So, besides our prayers of petition, let us also remember that when we have the novena to the infant Jesus, we can also come with our prayers of gratitude and thanksgiving to the infant Jesus. Novena prayer to the infant Jesus. O Jesus, you said, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be opened to you. Through the intercession of Mary, your most holy mother, I knock, I seek, and I ask that my prayer may be granted. Please make your petition. O Jesus, you said, all that you ask of the Father in my name, He will grant you. Through the intercession of Mary, your most holy mother, I humbly and urgently ask your Father in your name that my prayer be granted. Please make your petition. O Jesus, you said, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass. Through the intercession of Mary, your most holy mother, I feel confident that my prayer will be granted. Please make your petition and also remember to express your gratitude and thanks for favors received. We make this prayer, dear infant Jesus, in your name, who with the Father and the Holy Spirit live and reign forever and ever. We thank you for being with us and for showing your deep love for the infant Jesus during this time. May the infant Jesus bless you, your families, your home, and all your loved ones. And may you have a good night's rest tonight. Good night, and God bless.